Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when you look back and realize that everything changed, not because of a dramatic event, not because of some sudden miracle, but because of a few small choices that shifted the entire trajectory of your life. I want to share with you today 5 habits that changed my life in just 1 week. And I don't mean they changed everything overnight. I mean they started a chain reaction that continues to this day. The first realization is that small shifts in daily discipline produce massive transformation over time. Too many people wait for a huge breakthrough, but the truth is, life is transformed in inches before it is transformed in miles. Every giant tree began as a small seed, and every extraordinary future begins with small daily actions. When you commit to a new habit, even if it feels insignificant at first, you are planting seeds of greatness. You won't see the harvest in one day, but you will feel the shift in your spirit almost immediately. One small discipline changes how you see yourself, and that new self-image is the foundation of all transformation. The second habit that changed my life was realizing that the way you start your day determines the direction of your life. How you spend the first hour of your morning is a prophecy of how the rest of your day will go. If you wake up scrolling through chaos, you invite chaos into your day. But if you wake up with intention, prayer, reflection, learning, gratitude, you align your mind with clarity and power. The morning is not just the start of the day, it is the rudder that steers the ship of your life. Once I claimed my mornings, I noticed that I stopped reacting to life and started creating life. The third habit was feeding my mind with the right things. Most people don't realize how much junk they consume mentally. The mind is like soil, and whatever you put in it will grow, whether it's negativity or possibility. I replaced hours of noise with intentional learning. I read, I listened, I meditated, I spoke affirmation. Within days, my inner dialogue shifted. Instead of doubt and fear running the show, my thoughts began to align with faith and strategy. You cannot think trash all week and expect to live treasure. Change what you feed your mind, and you'll change what your life produces. The fourth habit that transformed me was practicing gratitude. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It is shifting your focus. When you are grateful, you tune your mind to abundance instead of lack. Gratitude unlocks creativity because it stops you from focusing on what you don't have and starts you focusing on what you can do with what you do have. Every morning and every night, I wrote down what I was grateful for. Within days, I began to notice blessings I had overlooked for years, and as I acknowledged them, more blessings began to appear. Gratitude is not only a key to joy, it is a magnet for opportunities. The fifth habit that shifted my life was speaking life over myself. Words create worlds. Most people underestimate how much damage they do by speaking carelessly. Every time you say, "I can't, I'm not enough, it never works for me," you're giving power to limitation. I decided to reverse that cycle. I spoke affirmations of who I was becoming, not just who I had been. I began to say things like, "I am disciplined, I am favored, I am walking in purpose, I am equipped for every challenge." Within a week, I felt stronger, bolder, and more focused. When your words change, your atmosphere changes, and when your atmosphere changes, your outcomes change. And finally, the sixth principle is consistency. None of these habits matter if you only do them once. The power is in the repetition. You don't get in shape from one workout. You get in shape from showing up daily. You don't build wealth from one smart decision. You build it from compounding decisions over time. And you don't transform your life by doing the right thing occasionally. You transform it by doing the right thing consistently. Within a week of consistency, I saw the trajectory of my life shift, not because I had arrived, but because I knew I was finally walking in the direction of growth. Ladies and gentlemen, these 5 habits, small disciplines, powerful mornings, feeding the mind, practicing gratitude, speaking life, and staying consistent changed my life in 1 week. Not because everything magically shifted overnight, but because they changed me. And when you change, your world has no choice but to follow. When you think about change, most people are waiting for something big to happen. They believe their life will shift when the promotion comes, when the opportunity shows up, when someone rescues them or recognizes them. But life rarely transforms through sudden, dramatic events. Life changes because of the small shifts you make in daily discipline that accumulate over time. The truth is, massive transformation is hidden inside simple decisions repeated consistently. One small adjustment today may look insignificant in the moment, but it sets in motion a chain reaction that alters your future forever. Think about it like this. If a plane leaving New York shifts its course by just a few degrees, it will land in an entirely different country than originally planned. That tiny adjustment doesn't look like much at the start, but over time and distance, the results are dramatic. In the same way, when you change a small daily habit, you may not see immediate fireworks, but over days, weeks, and months, your entire trajectory changes. It's not the one-time act that matters most, it's the daily repetition that builds momentum. Small disciplines are powerful because they shape identity. Every time you make a choice, you're not just doing an action. You're casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. When you choose to wake up early instead of hitting snooze, you're casting a vote for discipline. When you choose to read something that grows your mind instead of scrolling endlessly, you're casting a vote for wisdom. When you choose to exercise even when you don't feel like it, you're casting a vote for strength. Those single votes may not change the outcome today, but they are building the identity of a disciplined, wise, strong person who will live out a completely different future. Most people underestimate the power of the small because they are addicted to the dramatic. They want the big win, the huge breakthrough, the overnight miracle. But miracles don't sustain a life. Habits do. What feels small today is preparing you for the big tomorrow. If you can't be trusted with the little things, you'll never handle the big ones. A person who doesn't master daily habits will crumble under the weight of greater responsibility. That's why transformation always starts with the small. Another reason small shifts matter so much is because they change how you see yourself. When you do something consistently, no matter how small, you begin to believe that you are capable of change. If you commit to drinking more water every day, after a week, you don't just feel healthier. You start to believe you are someone who takes care of their body. That belief is far more valuable than the habit itself, because once your self-image changes, your behavior begins to match the new identity automatically. Your life will always rise or fall to the level of your self-image, and self-image is built through consistent, small disciplines. It's also important to understand that small shifts compound. One good decision leads to another. If you decide to spend 10 minutes reading in the morning, that may inspire you to write down one goal for the day. That small goal may lead you to make a better choice with your time. That better choice may lead to meeting the right person or seizing the right opportunity. Before you know it, one small decision to read for 10 minutes has created an entirely new path for your day, and over time, your life. The compound effect of small daily disciplines is greater than any single event could ever produce. When people look back on their lives and see massive transformation, they often describe a moment that seemed small at the time. A decision to start journaling, a choice to walk instead of watch TV, a commitment to write down 3 things they're grateful for each night. Each of those moments didn't feel earth-shattering when it began, but each one unlocked a ripple effect that reshaped the person they became. You may not feel the earthquake in the moment, but you will see the mountain it moved years later. So never despise small beginnings. Never look down on the little shifts you're making in your daily routine. If you can master the small disciplines, you will unlock the path to massive transformation. You don't need to wait for a big breakthrough to change your life. You need to start with a small one today. Because when you look back weeks from now, months from now, or years from now, you'll realize that the seemingly tiny adjustments you made were actually the seeds that produced the harvest of your destiny. The way you start your day sets the rhythm for everything that follows. The first hour after you wake up is like the foundation of a building. If it is strong, everything built on top of it stands firm, but if it is weak, everything that follows begins to crumble. Too many people begin their mornings in a state of reaction instead of intention. They wake up, grab their phone, and instantly let messages, notifications, and problems dictate their mindset. From the very first moment, they hand over control of their day to outside forces. But when you choose to start your day with purpose, you are declaring that you are in charge of your direction. The truth is, your morning routine is not just about productivity. It's about identity. The way you start your day says something about who you believe yourself to be. If you roll out of bed late, rushing, scrambling, and unprepared, you are reinforcing a self-image of disorganization and lack of control. But if you wake up with structure, clarity, and intentional practices, you are reinforcing a self-image of discipline and focus. That self-image carries with you all day long, influencing every decision you make. Mornings carry spiritual weight. They are a time of renewal and fresh beginnings. Each sunrise is a reminder that yesterday is gone and today is a blank page. How you choose to write on that page in the first hour will set the tone for the rest of the day. If you fill that hour with quiet reflection, prayer, gratitude, or reading, your spirit becomes centered and your mind becomes focused. If you waste that hour with distractions and noise, your mind becomes cluttered and your spirit becomes restless. The choice is yours and the impact is greater than most people realize. Consider the energy of momentum. Whatever direction you start in is the direction momentum will carry you. If you begin the day with calmness, gratitude, and vision, momentum pulls you into clarity and strength. If you begin the day with chaos and distraction, momentum pulls you deeper into anxiety and stress. You may not control everything that happens later in the day, but by starting strong, you give yourself a greater ability to respond with power instead of panic. One of the most powerful ways to start the day is with stillness. Before the noise of the world comes rushing in, give yourself space to breathe, to reflect, to connect with your purpose. Even 5 minutes of silence can transform the entire atmosphere of your morning. In stillness, you can listen to your own thoughts, align your heart with gratitude, and remind yourself of the vision you're pursuing. This is not wasted time. It is invested time because it strengthens your mind and spirit for whatever the day will bring. Another important element is movement. Your body and your mind are connected. When you move your body in the morning, whether through stretching, exercise, or even a brisk walk, you wake up your energy. You tell your body and your mind that you are alive, ready, and capable. Movement releases stress, sharpens focus, and gives you clarity. It doesn't have to be extreme, but it does have to be intentional. Even 10 minutes of physical activity in the morning can shift your energy for the entire day. Feeding your mind is just as critical. Too many people wake up and feed their mind with social media, news, or negativity. Instead, mornings should be a time to feed your mind with truth, wisdom, and vision. Read something that uplifts you. Listen to something that challenges you. Speak affirmations that remind you who you are and where you are going. The thoughts you put in your mind at the beginning of the day will echo in your decisions for hours to come. The way you start your day also shapes how you interact with others. If you begin rushed and unfocused, you are more likely to be short-tempered, distracted, and reactive. But if you begin centered and intentional, you are more likely to bring calmness, patience, and strength into your interactions. The energy you carry doesn't just affect you, it affects every environment you step into. By starting your day well, you set yourself up to not just manage your life better, but to influence others more positively. The morning is your chance to claim victory before the world even knows what you're doing. It's your secret weapon, your time to get ahead, your opportunity to pour into yourself so that you have something to give when the demands of life come knocking. When you win the morning, you win the day. And when you win enough days in a row, you win the week, the month, the year, and eventually you win in life. So never take your mornings lightly. Treat them as sacred. Protect them from distraction. Build habits that strengthen you, ground you, and prepare you, because the way you start your day is not just about that one day, it's about the life you are building. Each morning is a fresh opportunity to declare, I am in charge of my destiny. And when you take hold of that power daily, the direction of your life will never be the same. What you feed your mind eventually becomes the harvest of your life. The mind is like fertile soil. It does not discriminate between the seeds planted in it. If you plant weeds, weeds will grow. If you plant flowers, flowers will grow. The soil doesn't argue with you. It simply produces whatever you put into it. In the same way, your mind will take the information, images, and words you expose it to, and it will eventually produce behaviors, emotions, and results that reflect those inputs. This is why so many people struggle in life without understanding the root cause. They are expecting a harvest of success while feeding their minds with the seeds of failure. Every day, you are bombarded with thousands of messages. Some come from the media, some from the people around you, and some from your own inner dialogue. The problem is that most of these messages are not empowering. They are filled with fear, negativity, comparison, and doubt. If you do not intentionally guard what you consume, you will unconsciously absorb these voices until they begin to shape your belief system. And once your beliefs are shaped, your life will follow. The person who constantly consumes negativity will eventually begin to speak it, believe it, and live it. This is why you cannot treat your mind casually. You must be intentional about what you feed it. Just as you would not fill your body with junk food every day and expect to be healthy, you cannot fill your mind with junk thoughts every day and expect to be successful. What you watch, listen to, and read are not just forms of entertainment. They are forms of mental nutrition. And the question is, are you nourishing your mind or poisoning it? When I began to change what I consumed, I saw results almost immediately. Instead of starting my day with noise, I filled my mornings with wisdom. Instead of conversations filled with gossip and complaints, I sought out voices that spoke life and vision. Instead of scrolling through endless negativity, I picked up books and messages that challenged me to think bigger and live with greater purpose. Within days, I noticed my inner dialogue shifting. The doubts that once shouted so loudly began to grow quieter, and the voice of faith began to grow stronger. That was not an accident. It was the fruit of new mental nutrition. You see, the mind is always looking for confirmation. If you feed it negativity, it will look for reasons to justify why life is hard and unfair. But if you feed it positivity and truth, it will look for reasons to confirm that you are capable, blessed, and positioned for opportunity. Your mind is like a compass. It points in the direction of whatever it has been trained to focus on. If you feed it trash, it will point toward defeat. If you feed it treasure, it will point toward destiny. One of the greatest shifts you can make is to treat your thoughts like your diet. Imagine what would happen if you fed your body the way you feed your mind. If all you consumed was sugar, fast food, and processed junk, your energy would crash, your body would weaken, and your health would decline. Yet many people do the mental equivalent every day, consuming negativity, gossip, and fear without realizing the toll it takes. But when you give your body clean, nutritious food, it begins to heal, strengthen, and thrive. The same is true for the mind. When you feed it with gratitude, wisdom, faith, and vision, it begins to produce clarity, confidence, and creativity. It is also important to remember that the mind feeds not only on what you consume from outside sources, but also on what you allow yourself to repeat internally. Yourself. Ak is one of the most powerful influences in your life. If your inner voice constantly says, "I can't, I'm not enough, I'll never succeed," then even with the best outside influences, you will sabotage yourself from the inside. But when you choose to speak life over yourself, even in moments of struggle, you are training your mind to expect victory instead of defeat. The transformation doesn't happen in one day, but the impact begins immediately. The moment you shift what you feed your mind, you begin to feel stronger, more hopeful, and more aligned with your purpose. Over time, this becomes a habit, and habits create identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is stuck, and you begin to see yourself as someone who is growing. You stop believing you are a victim of circumstance, and you begin to believe you are a creator of possibility. And once your mind embraces that identity, your actions naturally follow. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your mind every single day? Are you consuming thoughts that push you toward your destiny, or thoughts that keep you chained to your past? Because what you consume today will show up in your results tomorrow. If you want to change your life, you must first change your diet, the mental diet you live on every day. Choose wisdom, choose faith, choose gratitude, choose growth. Feed your mind with the seeds of possibility, and in due season, your life will harvest the fruit of greatness. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces that can shift the direction of your life, and yet it is often the most overlooked. Most people believe they will feel grateful once everything in their life finally looks the way they want it to. They say, "I'll be thankful when I get the promotion, when I buy the house, when I reach my goals." But the truth is, gratitude doesn't wait for perfection. It creates the pathway to it. Gratitude is not a reaction to blessings. It is the magnet that draws more blessings into your life. When you live with gratitude, you begin to see the world through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity. Scarcity says, "I don't have enough. I am not enough. Life is against me." Abundance says, "I already have more than enough to start. I am equipped. Life is working for me." The difference between those two perspectives is not in circumstances. It is in focus. Two people can live in the same environment, face the same challenges, and yet one is miserable while the other is joyful. The difference is gratitude. Gratitude trains your mind to see what is good, what is working, and what is possible instead of what is lacking. The practice of gratitude is not just a feel, good exercise, it literally rewires your brain. When you take time to reflect on what you are thankful for, your brain releases chemicals that create feelings of peace and joy. These feelings strengthen your ability to think clearly, make better decisions, and face challenges with resilience. Gratitude is not only spiritual, it is practical. It gives you the energy and clarity to keep moving forward when others would give up. I began practicing gratitude daily, and within a week, I could see the difference. Each morning and night, I wrote down 3 things I was thankful for. Some days they were big things, like an opportunity that opened or a connection I made. Other days they were small things, like a meal I enjoyed or the sound of laughter in my home. At first, it seemed simple, almost too simple to matter, but over time, I noticed my attention shifting. I became more aware of the blessings I used to overlook. I began to see opportunities where before I only saw problems. Gratitude didn't just make me happier, it made me more resourceful. Gratitude also changes how you interact with others. When you are grateful, you carry a different energy into your relationships. People feel valued and appreciated when they are around you. Gratitude opens doors because people are drawn to those who live with thankfulness instead of entitlement. Opportunities often flow to grateful people because they are recognized as those who will steward them well. When you complain constantly, you repel good things, But when you express gratitude, you attract them. Another powerful aspect of gratitude is that it shifts your focus from what you can't control to what you can. Life will always present challenges, obstacles, and setbacks. If your focus is on what's wrong, you will feel powerless. But gratitude redirects your attention to what is right, what is working, and what you can build on. Even in the darkest seasons, there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude does not ignore the pain. It simply refuses to let pain define the story. It says, yes, I may be going through this storm, but I am thankful I still have strength to keep walking. I am thankful there are lessons I can learn. I am thankful this is not the end of my story. That shift in perspective is what gives you power to endure. Gratitude also fuels vision. When you are thankful for what you have, you create space for more. A person who despises small beginnings will never grow into great endings. But a person who honors and appreciates the little they have will multiply it. Gratitude is the posture that says, I may not be where I want to be yet, but I am thankful for where I am, and I know greater is on the way. That mindset keeps you motivated, consistent, and hopeful. And it is hope that fuels perseverance, and perseverance that produces breakthrough. So if you want to change your life, begin with gratitude. Don't wait until the circumstances are perfect, because perfection never comes. Start right now with what you have, with where you are. Be grateful for the opportunities that already exist, for the lessons you've already learned, for the strength you've already gained. Write them down. Speak them out, reflect on them daily. Gratitude practiced consistently will reshape your mind, transform your heart, and open doors that effort alone could never unlock. Gratitude is not weakness, it is strength. It does not make you blind to challenges. It makes you bold in the face of them. It reminds you that life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. And as you live with gratitude, you will find that more and more reasons to be grateful begin to show up. Gratitude is not the result of blessings. It is the birthplace of them. Words carry weight, and the words you speak about yourself shape the atmosphere you live in. Many people don't realize that the most consistent voice they hear every single day is their own. Long before the world has a chance to tell you who you are, your own words are forming your image, your expectations, and your energy. If those words are filled with doubt, defeat, and limitation, they become chains that hold you back. But if those words are filled with life, vision, and possibility, they become keys that unlock new doors of opportunity. Speaking life over yourself is not wishful thinking. It is aligning your words with the future you want to create. Every thought in your mind is looking for expression, and the primary way it finds release is through your tongue. When you say things like, I can't do this, I'll never make it, or things never work out for me, you are not just describing your reality, you are creating it. Words act like seeds planted in the soil of your future, and every time you speak them, you water them. If you constantly speak failure, you will eventually harvest failure. If you consistently speak victory, you will eventually harvest victory. That's why it is so important to catch yourself before careless words leave your mouth, because once released, they begin to shape the direction of your life. When I began intentionally speaking life over myself, I noticed the shift almost immediately. I stopped repeating the phrases that kept me bound and started declaring words that set me free. Instead of saying, I'm too tired, I began saying, I have the strength I need for today. Instead of saying, I'll never figure this out, I declared I am capable of learning and growing. At first, it felt strange, even unnatural, because for so long my words had reflected fear instead of faith. But as I continued, those words began to reshape my beliefs. My confidence grew, my perspective shifted, and my actions began to line up with the declarations I was making. This is the power of speaking life. It doesn't just change how others see you. It changes how you see yourself. yourself. Ak creates the lens through which you view your abilities and your circumstances. If your words are negative, you approach challenges expecting to fail. But if your words are life giving, you approach challenges expecting to win. That expectation alone changes the energy you bring into every situation, and often it changes the outcome itself. Another reason speaking life is so powerful is that it impacts the atmosphere around you. Words are contagious. When you speak with negativity, you drain not only your own energy, but also the energy of everyone connected to you. But when you speak words of life, you uplift yourself and those around you. People are drawn to those who speak hope, vision, and encouragement, because in a world full of negativity, that kind of speech is rare and refreshing. Speaking life not only transforms your internal world, it also creates external opportunities because others want to be in your presence. Speaking life is also an act of faith. It means declaring what you believe even before you see it. It means aligning your words with the future you desire, not just the present you are experiencing. For example, you may not feel confident yet, but you can declare, "I am confident and bold." You may not see financial abundance yet, but you can declare, "I walk in abundance and provision." Some will call it unrealistic, but the truth is, everything created in this world was spoken before it was seen. The words you speak are setting the stage for what will manifest. Of course, this doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you choose to frame reality through a lens of possibility. When challenges come, instead of saying, "This is the end," you say, "This is the beginning of a new lesson, a new strategy, a new strength." Speaking life doesn't erase the struggle. It empowers you to rise above it. It doesn't deny the problem. It declares that the problem is not permanent. This shift in language transforms not only your mindset, but also your resilience. The key is consistency. Speaking life once or twice won't change much. It's the daily habit of declaring truth and vision over yourself that rewires your mind and reshapes your destiny. Over time, these declarations become your natural language. Instead of defaulting to doubt, you begin to default to faith. Instead of reinforcing limitation, you reinforce possibility. And as your language shifts, your life follows. So make it a daily practice to speak life over yourself. Choose your words with intention. When fear tries to rise, counter it with faith-filled declarations. When doubt whispers, drown it out with affirmations of strength and purpose. Speak about yourself not as you are, but as you are becoming. Because words are not just descriptions, they are creations, and the life you live tomorrow is being shaped by the words you speak today. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Many people dream of transformation, but very few are willing to practice the consistency required to experience it. Change does not come from inspiration alone. It comes from the daily decisions you make when nobody is watching. It is the small, consistent actions, repeated faithfully, that compound into a life of greatness. Discipline is not a punishment. It is the structure that gives your potential room to grow. Without it, even the strongest desires wither away. With it, even the smallest beginnings can grow into remarkable outcomes. Consistency is the proof of commitment. Anyone can start strong. Starting is easy. The excitement of a new idea, the motivation from a speech, or the thrill of a fresh plan can get almost anyone moving. But what separates those who transform from those who stagnate is not how they start, but how they continue. The real test comes when the excitement wears off, when progress feels slow, when nobody notices your effort. That is when discipline matters most. Discipline says, "Even if I don't see results today, I will stay faithful because I know the seed I'm watering will grow in due time." Think of a farmer planting crops. He doesn't put seeds in the ground today and expect a harvest tomorrow. He understands there is a process of time, watering, nurturing, protecting, that must take place before the fruit appears. In the same way, discipline is the daily watering of your future. Every consistent action, no matter how small, is an investment in the harvest you want to see. The challenge is that many people quit watering too soon. They expect instant results and give up when they don't see them. But those who remain disciplined are the ones who eventually reap the rewards. Discipline also protects you from the distractions that try to steal your destiny. Every day, you are faced with choices that either push you closer to your goals or pull you further away. Without discipline, your decisions are driven by emotion, convenience, or impulse. But discipline trains you to act based on vision, not feeling. Feelings fluctuate. Some days you're motivated, some days you're not. Vision remains steady. Discipline is the tool that keeps you aligned with vision when feelings try to lead you astray. When I began practicing discipline in simple areas, I noticed it spilling over into every part of my life. Waking up at a consistent time, committing to exercise, setting aside time for reflection and growth. These were not massive changes individually, but together they created momentum. Momentum is powerful because once you have it, it carries you further than effort alone. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum makes success feel inevitable. What felt difficult in the beginning becomes natural over time because discipline turns actions into habits, and habits eventually form identity. The beauty of discipline is that it doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you become. Each consistent action reinforces a new version of yourself. Every time you choose to follow through, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, that you are capable, that you are someone who keeps promises. This builds trust, and self. Trust is essential for transformation. The reason so many people struggle with confidence is not because they lack potential, but because they have broken too many promises to themselves. Discipline repairs that trust. It restores the belief that you can set a standard and live up to it. It's important to understand that discipline is not about perfection. You will have days when you fall short, when you slip, when you don't meet the standard you set. That's part of the journey. What matters is not whether you fail, it's whether you return. Discipline means showing up again and again, even after mistakes, until consistency outweighs inconsistency. Progress is not a straight line, it is built on persistence. Discipline gives you the strength to rise every time you stumble. Some people view discipline as restrictive, as if it robs them of freedom. The opposite is true. Discipline is what creates true freedom. The person without discipline is a slave to impulse, mood, and circumstance. But the person with discipline is free to live with purpose, to achieve goals, to build the life they truly want. Freedom is not the absence of structure, it is the reward of discipline. So if you want to transform your life, embrace discipline. Start small, stay consistent, and let your daily actions compound. Don't chase quick fixes, build lasting habits. Don't rely on bursts of motivation, rely on steady commitment. Discipline is the habit that makes all other habits possible. It is the foundation upon which success, growth, and transformation are built. When you commit to discipline, you are telling your future that you value it more than your comfort in the present. You are proving to yourself that your vision is worth the effort, worth the sacrifice, worth the wait. And as you remain consistent, you will look back and realize that what once felt difficult has become natural, and what once seemed impossible has become reality. Discipline transforms desire into destiny, and consistency is the pathway that gets you there.